This is Lon Winters with Graphic Elephants.
This is Jimmy Lamp.
This is Matt Busselle with the RhinstoneWorld.com.
And you're listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
And you are listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by...
My name is Terry Combs, RG, regular guy.
And Aaron Montgomery.
We're just regular guys having fun and trying to make a living in this really cool and exciting industry.
I think we all want to succeed 100% of the time.
Seek to understand before I try and make myself understood.
Bring a ton of great information.
Coming to you live from somewhere dark, dirty, and dank.
All right, welcome into the show. It is Friday, April 28th, 2023. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Eric Campbell, sitting in today for Aaron Montgomery. Very obviously not Aaron. You can find me at ericcampbell.com. Aaron is speaking today at the Sublimation Summit. So some of you are enjoying his dulcet tones right now, talking about all things sublimation business. But today, if you're here with us, you are incredibly lucky because a friend of the show, Jay Busselle, will be talking to us about sharing with intention on social media. And I cannot wait to kind of pick his brain about this stuff. We've been talking about social for a long time, and he really has the beat on it.
This could be a long show. He loves to talk about this stuff. So, and you know what? I love to hear it. So,
oh, absolutely. I mean, honestly, I have taken one of his classes. That's one of those things. I very rarely stop to take classes. I took Jay's LinkedIn class and enjoyed it very much. So for those of you who sat with me as a student at Impressions, you know that I'm into Jay's stuff for sure. But before we get into that, we actually have one other special guest, as we have been doing. We've been doing the news lately. And you guys know we have Adrian Palmer on. So I cannot wait to get into the news.
Well, all I have to say about this is, Adrian, oh yeah.
All right. With that, let's get into the news.
Hey, Terry. Hi, Eric. Thanks for having me on Oh Yeah. Our first news item today, Keypoint Intelligence assesses trends in North American apparel decorator market. Screen Printing Magazine's resource partner, Keypoint Intelligence, recently published the results of a survey focusing on apparel decorators in North America. This report evaluates the overall business performance for a variety of decorative apparel techniques, including embroidery, screen printing, dye sublimation, DTG, and a range of heat transfer technologies. The study explores other topics such as productivity issues, fabric types, costs and prices, and performance of sales channels. The key takeaways include t-shirts, fleece, sweatshirts, hoodies, and hats and caps are the top 3 products in terms of annual revenue. Business performance is expected to increase in 2023, with 45% of respondents expecting an increase of 20% or more. Apparel decorators are more trusting of DTG, DTF, and dye sublimation platforms and feel the durability of each can meet customers' needs. Stay tuned for our upcoming survey with Keypoint, the Screen Printing Industry Salary Survey, which will address staffing and salaries in the screen printing and apparel decorator space. Next up, Next Level Apparel transitions to recycled polyester fabric. Next Level is transitioning its entire product line of polyester blended fabrics to recycled polyester. The transition will impact all incoming fabrics, which are made from 100% U.S. grown cotton. This step is part of the company's commitment to supply chain transparency and sustainable business practices. Next Level launched its Sustainable Collection in 2019, made of an eco-friendly fabric and 70% recycled material. Through this initiative, the company has repurposed more than 5 million recycled plastic water bottles through the products in that collection. And last, but certainly not least, 4 female leaders discuss how to accelerate diversity in the industry. For the 4th installment of our Let's Talk About It webinar series, hosted by Rock US and Unite Together, I had the pleasure and honor of interviewing Barbara Chandler-Allen, Carmen Rad, Brandy Schieber, and Jessica Tillery. All 4 panelists are previous Women in Screen Printing and Women in Wide Format Award winners. Questions asked included, what can female leaders in the print space do to help diversify the industry? What industry-wide steps can we take toward leveling the playing field? And how does special recognition as a female leader affect a business? I also made a special announcement about the 2023 Women in Screen Printing Awards. Nominations will go live this Monday, May 1st, for the 4th annual awards. You will have 2 months until June 30th to nominate a deserving candidate. Winners will be announced in the Screen Printing Magazine's September-October digital edition, will be recognized at Printing United Expo in Atlanta, and will join an incredible network of business leaders in the screen printing space. The nomination link can be found in the May-June digital edition of Screen Printing Magazine and on our website this Monday. And of course, please reach out if you have any questions about the nomination process. So that's it for me. Thanks. Have a great show.
Awesome. You know, Eric, those surveys, when I was a plant manager for many years, I used to eat those up, especially the salary surveys, things like that, because, you know, it's kind of hard to think what is this position? What's the value of that? What's that position? And what's the standard in the industry? You certainly can't be below the standard and hold on to people. So anyway, that's awesome. And for any new listeners, OU means Ohio University, where Adrian and I are both graduates of the Ohio University School of Journalism. So.
See, you always learn something, whether it's learning about trends in North American apparel decoration, learning about what our awesome female leaders are doing in screen printing, or the meaning of OU. I mean, there's always something. There's always something to learn.
Games, it's OU. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I would love to say I know anything from my wonderful alma mater, the University of New Mexico, but I know nothing. Aside from doing this and saying everyone's a Lobo. Woof, woof, woof.
I was fully immersed in college, so
I probably know more from doing their embroidery work after the fact. But hey, nobody's perfect.
Well, I was president of my fraternity junior and senior years, so yeah, totally immersed.
Yeah. Well, we have to know where you got armed with your degree in journalism, right? We have to know that.
Exactly.
All right. So the other thing you are armed with, as usual in these mornings, would have to be the dad joke. But before we get there, first thing is we've got a couple of people who are on saying good morning. I would love to say to our live crew, you know, we have Cindy King coming on saying good morning. Good morning, Cindy. Got her on. We've got Todd Fedad. And this is, of course, branding. You know, Jay is all about tacos. Well, morning all taco about a great show ahead of us, the Jay here. So getting an early start on the dad
I was
jokes.
hoping you were going to grab that.
I couldn't help it. Mo is here. We have Chuck is in, Jerry's in, Tanya. Everybody's saying hello. Everybody's showing up for an awesome show with Jay. So cannot wait to get into it. But we can't just let Todd be the only one getting a pun in. We got to get to the dad joke. So I see you've got a dad joke for us.
I do. And you know, we welcome dad jokes from anybody out there. Send them in, do a recording, just email it to us. But I always have about a half dozen at the bottom of our outline, just in case. Today's one of those days. So you ready?
You know, I'm as ready as I'm ever going to get.
So Eric, did you know my dad was born as a conjoined twin, but the doctors managed to separate them at birth?
You know, that's a piece of trivia I really didn't know, man.
Yeah. So now I have an uncle once removed. All right, Todd, let's hear it.
Come on, Todd. I can't be the only one cringing at this. Give me something else to cringe at, my friend.
I have a pretty awesome one for next week. I'm just going to tell you now. So
you're going to hype it up too much, man. Now you got to deliver a really great dad joke.
This is the guy that says that titles his seminars things like the ultimate guide to, the ultimate seminar for. So there's never too much hype from this guy.
Got to buy in to make it happen.
Exactly. All right. So, Eric, before we dive in, we want to thank everyone for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We are always looking for new guests. So if you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com. Why didn't they name that something else?
Right.
So calendly.com/2, the number 2, regular guys with your show ideas. And if you're listening to the podcast version, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all of your industry friends so they can become regulators too. We would appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Amazon Podcast. Wherever you do your podcast listening, you will find us there. And if you're watching live, please join in with your comments and questions. And I just want to add here, Eric, that if you have marketing questions, today's the day. Even if it's off our topic, Jay is the guy. He is the guru. So jump in there with those questions, and we'll try to get Jay to comment as well. So.
Absolutely. And before we go, I will just say, looks like some people have reacted to the dad joke. There was a definite reaction. We have a wide ooh here. And then Christine Tree, friend of the show, says, "Oh, I tuned in and this is the dad joke. That was painful." Yeah, I can't agree with you enough,
Christine, next week, I promise. It's a sweet one.
It's coming back around. All right. Well, though we will wait, on bated breath for next week, with bated breath, let's go ahead and bring in the man of the hour, the person who we're here to talk to today, and that is our good friend, Jay Busselle. So, Jay, welcome to the show, sir.
No, that was terrible. Terrible. That was the worst bad dad/uncle joke I've ever heard.
I have to agree. I'm so glad you're here with me. It's finally, 2 against 1.
I'm sorry, but isn't that the definition of a dad joke?
True.
It might be, but that's pretty rough.
That is true. What's up, guys?
Right.
Terry's bringing the heat. Eric, good to see you in the seat, my man.
I know. It's good to see you here, sir.
I got a huge laugh when I'm pretty sure you said, and Aaron, if you're listening to Aaron at the Sublimation Summit, you will be hearing the dull tones of his session. And I was like,
I think you said dulcet.
Dulcet.
Oh,
dulcet. I'm pulling out those 50-cent words again. The dulcet tones, the sweet tones.
Oh, gotcha. Forgive me. I bailed on college, so.
Hey, so Jay and I did a webinar yesterday. So I just saw Jay down in Tempe.
Hey, buddy.
And a week ago we ran into Adrian at the ISA Science Show. She's like, we passed the night out. What are you guys doing here?
Yeah, that was so fun.
That's the hard thing, is that you guys don't know. For us, it's just like getting to hang out with our buddies. So when we start our shows, we forget sometimes that we're doing a show here.
Like, oh yeah, there's a show. There's
a show, because we just want to hang out with our buddies that we all know from the industry.
That's how the show started. So
that's how it is. Though what I will say is, for those who don't know, you've been on the show before. We all know you very well, but for any new listeners who are tuning in to get these wonderful pearls of wisdom, can you give us a little bit of your background so people kind of know where you're coming from?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. I always forget that.
Thumbnail sketch.
Who cares?
Imagine we're in the elevator. We're on the 87th floor.
Thank you for having me back. I appreciate it. I'm available anytime. So whatever works in your schedule, just give me at least a day's notice. I'm ready to rock and roll.
And let me just add, if anybody who was expecting to see a different guest on here, Jay filled in at the last minute on Wednesday because just heads up, if you're a guest on our show, it's live. We can't push it back an hour or so because you have a meeting.
It's true. It's true.
Thank you.
It's true. But as the marketing director at Equipment Zone, I am blessed, lucky, fortunate to work with a huge crew there, an awesome group. One of which our friend here sitting in the 2 regular guy seat is Terry Combs. So Terry and I do work together at Equipment Zone. He's in sales, I'm in marketing, and we probably have too much fun, more fun than we should. So,
and we've known each other for many, many years before that. So
that is true statement. Yes, we used to throw grapefruits at each other, one from Digital Art Solutions to the other over to US Screen Print. So it's been a fun ride. I also have some side hustles, some passion projects. I do work with Promo Kitchen is near and dear to my heart. It's a nonprofit association. It's a group of misfits and renegades who help specifically in the promotional product, but we're definitely in the branded merch and apparel as well. And so we have a nonprofit group focused on mentorship. So shout out to Promo Kitchen. And then a couple of years back, I had the opportunity to kind of formalize a little side hustle. So there's a project that I work with Jessica Gibbons Roush. I call her JGR. And she and I were doing some LinkedIn training together. And we just kind of formalized that a little bit so that when associations hire us or people want to pay us, we have a real business now. So when I say real, I mean at least legal. So that's called, I like to flex. So we call it Flex Point. So Flex Point Social Selling. So you're welcome to go check us out at goflexpoint.com. But also very much immersed in inkjet technology. Apparel decoration is where it's at for me. So I kind of have one foot on the promo dock and one foot on the apparel boat. And sometimes it's a little uncomfortable, but I try to keep those two things close together.
So here's Jay doing the Jean-Claude Van Damme splits between these two sides of the decoration world. But always love to see the stuff that you're doing, because honestly, we've seen the evolution, and I'd love to see, like I said, took the class you did for LinkedIn. Heartily recommend everything you put out there. So, and
Thank
that's
you
from
very
some guy who
much.
doesn't usually go to take all the classes.
No, I appreciate it. It was so much fun having you there. I think that was the same time that Christine was in the session, and
Yes,
it's fun to have other, folks like you that appreciate the work that goes behind the scenes and then preparation. But it was so much fun to have you there because it just made it super easy. It's like we're just hanging out. So it's a lot like the show. It's like it's hard, like you guys said. It's hard to focus on. Oh yeah, we have content to share.
Sometimes,
but
right?
hey, Jay, don't and Eric as well. When industry folks, you see them sitting in the back of the class, are you suddenly thinking A game, A game, A game?
Yeah, for real. That's
A
true.
Just a little bit. You like to bump it up, for your friends.
You're definitely giving it to the back of the room. You're leaving everything on the table those days. Though I will say you've got fans in the wings. Jeff Fuller of Embroidery Nerd showed up to say #Taco Nation. Adam is excited to watch the replay when school comes first. So, Adam, Jeff's son, one of the youngest viewers who is very much into Jay's messages. Also,
that was such a fun moment there. I don't know how old his son is now. Maybe 11, 10, 11, 12, somewhere in that range. I'm guessing, but super cool story there. We won't tell the whole thing, but it was fun.
Easily our youngest nominee for a Reggie Award as well.
Absolutely. And also, Christine says she was there. Jay's LinkedIn class was amazing as well. So we have all these people who are into it and ready to hear.
That's super cool. But the good news is this isn't just a LinkedIn session. I just want to let everybody know now before you tune out.
For anybody that goes, LinkedIn.
Again, LinkedIn. Oh my God. Stop,
it's universal,
Jay.
people. It's universal.
Well, are you done with your list there, Eric? The commenters?
Yes.
Oh, he's 12 now, says Jeff.
Here we go. So now we
12.
know.
Okay. I was a guess. I have no idea.
All right. So, Jay, I have sat in on many of your marketing sessions on several different subjects, and we've done seminars together as well. So what's our marketing topic today? What do you want to talk about?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity again to be sitting here with the two regular guys. So thanks again. Shout out. I know you guys are sneaking up on a pretty big milestone. And so I want to give a compliment first to Aaron and Terry and now Eric as well. It takes three, even though it says two regular guys. That's how you know they're regular, because there's really three of them. So, but you guys do a wonderful job. So you really do have fun, but you make a difference. And I appreciate that. So with all the jokes aside, it strikes me as amazing that you're knocking on the 500 door here, coming up sometime next month, Terry, if that's what
end of May, 500th episode. Yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable, buddy.
Crazy.
So cheers to you. Shout out, big time celebration. It's impressive. It's fun. It's still relevant, more importantly, right? I mean, the evolution of our industries, and I say that with a plural, is at times it's a blur. And other times it feels like nothing's new. So the fact that you guys have had so many wonderful guests, so much great content, so many amazing discussions. So I give you a more than a golf clap and more than a tip of the cap. Quite the fun. So thanks for having me, and thanks for having such a great podcast.
We appreciate that, Jay. Thank you.
So today I wanted to talk about social selling in a broader context. I mean, yes, it would apply to LinkedIn and certainly any platform, but this is the outcome of a online training that FlexPoint had recently, where we had folks talking with us. It was about LinkedIn, but there was a section there that was more about all platforms. So social selling is a fun word. It's not new. It's not something that we just made up. I can't take credit for it, but I started thinking a little bit more intentional about it, started thinking about how to use it. And so I've come up with a little bit of a definition, or my definition anyway. And social selling to me involves leveraging your personal brand on social media with a business brand to establish trust and credibility to a particular community. So I think there's to me, I've noticed there's we had this big wave, this big revolution of personal brand. You got to have a personal brand. I still agree with that, but I think that there's some differences, and sometimes it's just nuanced, but there are differences between you as a person and the business you might represent. So I can be as silly as I want to be in certain times, but when it comes back to the business branding that I'm in charge of, I have to watch the voice, I have to watch the tone, And so it takes both, really. And so you figure out a formula to leverage both to create that trust and create that credibility, but not just randomly, like to a targeted audience or a particular community. So that's what I want to talk about, guys. I hope that's not too much. I hope that's not too deep, but
yeah. Well, hey, when you were saying that, Jay, I just started thinking that wasn't that many years ago when everyone's saying, "Hey, you have to be on social media. You have to," and the one rule was, but don't go on there and try to sell. Beyond that, there were no other rules. There was no.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's like garment decorating. It seems very easy, but then there are layers and there are layers and there are layers, and it sounds like you have dug down many layers into. Hey, you got to have a website. Hey, you got to be on Twitter. Hey, you've got to be on LinkedIn.
Well, it's funny about the Twitter because I remember reaching out to Aaron and going, "How does Terry have like 12,000 followers on Twitter? What the hell is he doing over there?" And so that was like in the early days of my Twitter rage. But I was inspired by you guys, and I think inspiration is everywhere within our industry, with our colleagues, through podcasts and networking like this, going to trade shows, etc. But we have so much to learn about this. And so, yes, Terry, there are layers and levels, and we're constantly learning. And I think that's where I could give the credit is this topic isn't new, but maybe I can put a couple of new twists on it. And I think it was something Mark Schaefer had recently said. I used to have my go-to marketing mentor was always Seth Godin, still is. He's my OG. But in the last 3 years, I've really been hanging on what Mark Schaefer says. It's a little bit more, he's a little bit more community-based, and I really like that he can dig deep, and he helped me figure this out. So I used to be stuck, and I was all in on, if you guys remember, it was insights over information. That was kind of one of my buzzwords. Insights over information. But I've moved on, and now I'm focusing on this concept of intention or attention.
Yeah.
Intention with an I or attention with an A. And there's a huge difference. And just those two words and having a focus on them helps me. So are we acting in the name of intention, like with a purpose? Or are we just trying to gain attention? Are we seeking attention? Are we just trying to shine the light on us? Like, look at me, bring notice and build awareness. And there's a time for both. And neither is wrong or right so much as knowing when to play which card. And so that's what I wanted to talk about with you guys today. I hope that's okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, when you were talking about it originally, even what Terry said, we were talking about just being there to be there. And I think we started out with this portion of people just not knowing if they could even be there at all, or not understanding why they would want to be present in kind of these communities.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where the attention over intention kind of started. But I see how as we evolve, we start to understand that we just kind of shotgunning content when it's not new, when it's not open blue sky, that doesn't necessarily work anymore. And we have to have something more to it. But I'd like to kind of drill in a little deeper since we're talking about this. Since you're saying, hey, we've got intention versus attention. Is this really about the kind of content? Are you talking about social media content, or is it more than that?
It's definitely more, Eric. Thank you for the qualifier question. Yes, it's both, but the principle of the intention versus attention can apply way beyond social media. I mean, think about it. It could be the conversations we have in person. It could be how I'm messaging on my website. It could be even how I interact via email. Or this just came up. I was reading something recently about, it's so funny. We all get stuck in this moment where we're coming back, shows are back, we're networking again, and people say, "So what do you do, Eric?" And you're like, here it comes. The pressure, the fumble. What's my 30-second commercial? Do I even have an elevator pitch anymore? How do I explain what I do in 30 seconds? That's impossible. So this intentionality can help you there too. So sharing how you share, whether it's on social media, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, or wherever, or whether it's on a webpage or an email, etc. So it's both. But I wanted to today. I wanted to apply it to social media, if that's okay, Eric.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's where people have a lot of the questions. What I love that you're saying though is, if you grasp the basics or maybe the elemental nature of what you're doing here, it applies everywhere. It's great to take the use case and work on it. But if you think about what we're talking about, if you think about the broad strokes, or like I said, the foundational level of this thing, if you understand that, everything else flows out of it.
I totally agree, and that's really what I needed. I needed something that was even a document. I needed a reminder. I needed some anchors to help me, because Lord knows I need all the help I can get. Everybody who knows me, I'm pretty vulnerable and open about that. It's like, I need all the reminders I can get. I can be super highly crazy creative, but if I don't have someone to help me navigate through that and execute, it's for what? Right. So I need all the help I can get, and I needed a tool. And so this is something I've been working on, in the background silently. People don't know this, but literally I've got about 4 or 5 years, probably closer to 6, in this concept, tuning this for me to try to remember me, because we've all had those moments when we get in front of our laptops, we get in front of our screens, and we're like, now what do I say? Like and sometimes, people say, well, just be yourself, just be authentic. And I think that of course there's some truth in that, but we maybe stretched that too far. That rubber band got stretched way too far, and people are being a little bit too authentic, if you know what I mean. So I think that if we have this plan, if we have a tool, and if we kind of focus in on this intentionality, then when we share content, we are doing it with a purpose. It's meaningful, but it's in the context still. Now, I don't want to put in such a tight box that we're robots and we say the same thing again and again and again. Not at all. And so, for example, I'm pretty sure people pretty much got sick of Jay and tacos. And it probably, nobody was getting more sick of it than I was. I'm still embracing the taco. Don't get me wrong. I still love them. Terry knows I still tease him every Tuesday.
I was just going to say, every Tuesday, the first thing I see from you is, it's Taco Tuesday.
So that's the truth. It's not something I can totally get away from. So, but there is more to me than tacos. There is more to Eric than embroidery. There is more to Terry than, I don't know. There's more to Terry than yeah. There's more than the Blue Moon. There's more to Terry than journalism, right? There's more to Terry than screen printing. So we each have, we oftentimes by default fall into the attention category. We're just on, and we're just going to try to grab some attention. And I'm trying to help people see. Listen, I'm guilty of that all the time too. But I want to inspire the audience and the listeners that we can have a tool. You can create a tool to help you with intention, to help you with better conversations, and to be more engaging. And here's the memory for me. I remember going into LinkedIn about 4 or 5 years ago, and I thought I'd really arrived. I had a couple of posts that reached 6,000 people, 10,000. One hit 10,000 views, 10,000 impressions, and I was like, oh my God, I figured this out. I cracked the code, Eric. And I was like, it's like a drop compared to what a lot of people get. To others, it's huge. To me at the time, it was huge, but the truth is it's not much. But I was happy about it. And I remember somebody quickly asking me, I was kind of bragging, surprise. And somebody's like, well, so was it like, they were asking, well, what was it? What was the topic? And they're like, so was it like really engaging? Did you have a lot of people commenting? And I was like, I didn't even check. I was like, oh, epic fail. So I was enthralled
by the number.
Yeah, I was too stuck on the vanity of the number, and so that lack of engagement brought awareness. And so every month, here's what I do, and you can do this on Facebook, you can do this on Twitter, you can do this on Instagram. You can check all the analytics, but especially on LinkedIn, you can see what your reach was in terms of impressions, but what your engagement was. And so if I had 5,000 last month, and I had, whatever the average was, whatever your average is, it doesn't matter. I'm not trying, if it's a lot, it's a lot. If it's a little, that's okay. But what you're really after is the conversation. You're really after, am I starting fresh conversations? Am I talking with people? Am I getting a response? And so that's where this whole intention versus attention came from. And then you put it really into business. You put it really into work. There's a high probability that future clients I don't know, this might be a newsflash. I mean, maybe I should get Adrian back on, because people judge you on the internet. Did you know that?
Come to find out, people certainly know you ahead of time when you're not expecting it.
Yes.
I just recently found that not everything on the internet is true. Now you're hitting me with this.
Terry, I know. Are you sitting down? Because listen, there's a high probability that your future customers have already checked you out. They've already been snooping around. They've already been they're looking for clues. They're trying to see if they can trust you. They're not judging you so much as they're trying to make sure they don't make a mistake. but they are checking you out. That's true about your About section on LinkedIn. That's true about the About Us section on your webpage if you have one. It's true everywhere. So I'm trying to help everybody remember that intentional side and weaving that in with a compelling story. What that does is it helps the reader meet you on a personal level. And so it's like, I need to meet this person after I read that. I want to know Terry. I want to know more about Eric. I trust them already based on what I can tell. I get a vibe, I get a feel. And so that's what I'm after. I'm after that kind of intentionality that builds credibility and builds trust. I hope that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Jay, one thing I love, and pardon me, one thing, if you ever go to any of Jay's live events, he will call you out. So I'm just saying, what do you think?
Yes, I will. Yes,
This
I
is
will.
true. But one thing I love about when you talk about one of these subjects, you also say, and here's how to attack that. Here's how to deal with it. So can you share some tactics that would help our audience, our listeners, share content that is more intentional?
Yes. Oh, thank you. For sure I can. And I'm glad that we can get to this point, because it's easy to talk about it from what do they say, a 30,000 foot view or something like that. That's more of the strategy, the big picture, the big strategy. But I want to try, it's hard doing this on a podcast, but I think we've got some visual people too. And there are some people that are watching. So I'm not going to flash any slides. I'm not going to share any of that, but I think I can describe it in such a way that everybody will get it. So again, what we're talking about here is social selling. We're talking about the intentionality, the intention versus attention. And so social selling, like I said, is going to be about leverage. We're going to leverage our personal brand just a little bit. We're going to try to share some business values. We're also going to need to provide proof that we can solve problems. And then we're doing all of that toward a particular community. So let me hit on that again. So number one, we're leveraging our personal side, our personal brand, us, me, the things that make me who I am and make me special, rare, unique, and different. Then we're going to talk about our business values. Why is our business special? Why is it rare? Why is it unique? What do we stand for? And then we have to show some proof that we've done it. We can actually solve problems like this. And this is a total Seth Godin ripoff, by the way. I solve problems like this for people like you. I solve problems like fill in the blank. What do I do? How do I solve problems for people like fill in the blank? And so now that I have those 4 things, I have 4 columns. So if we got out Terry's yellow legal pad and we put 4 columns, Terry, you got one, right? Don't leave
I'm
it
ready,
down.
man.
He's ready. So we've got 4 columns on our pad of paper, right? And so each of those columns is one of those things. Each column represents a really important pillar, if you will. So number 1, personal traits, your personal brand, your personal traits, things I'm known for, things I have a passion for, graphics, fonts, dad jokes, really bad ones, embroidery. I know more about embroidery than God. Okay, Eric, you might qualify for that. The Phoenix Suns, the Kansas City Chiefs, tacos, right? I have these personal traits, whatever they are. We all have them. Likes, dislikes, personal traits. Does that make sense, Terry? You following me? Calling you out.
You.
Okay. That's our personal brand. That's our personal traits. That's the first column. So we would at the top put personal branding. Second column at the top, we might have business values. That's what I would write. And our business values are what we stand for. And it's not customer service. And warning, warning, warning. If you use those words, Eric and I have had this conversation before, I forbid you to use the term customer service. It is so watered down. It is so lacking of meaning. It is so weak sauce that it doesn't even apply here, because you have to go deeper than that. And also another warning, I'm about ready to cross this off everybody's list officially, the word creative. Because you can't use that word unless you can show people. And so if you say it's like reading resumes. I'm a highly creative individual driven by, it's all these same buzzwords. And it's like, you have to do a better job of being able to explain your business values So what does that look like? Are you creating experiences for your customers? Maybe that's one of them. I create experiences. Maybe you can define the support, the value in terms of time, in terms of delivery, in terms of innovation. We're innovative. And again, be warned, you have to be able to back it up. You have to be able to show. There has to be breadcrumbs to this proof. Maybe you're obsessed with the customer. Instead of customer service, I would say customer obsessed, by the way. Feel free to rip that off. That's still in the okay column. Still good. But again, business values, maybe you say we're nobody can meet deadlines like we can. We have a 99.9% on-time delivery rate. That's impressive. That's something to talk about, right? So that's what I mean by, you just want to have these business values. You can use words like integrity, you can use other things, but I don't know what you stand for. Eric, if you're running a business, what are your business values? And so for some people, they're like, oh crap, I'm going to have to stop and actually think about this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's column number 2. Column number 3 is, again, it's now solving problems. So I solve problems like this. What is it that you do? Like if you say embroidery, that's not enough. What is the value of the embroidery? What is the outcome of the embroidery? What does the embroidery serve? Yeah. So if it's screen printing, if it's DTG printing, if it's awards, you have to be able to say employee recognition or employee retention or lead generation. You're doing this work for a purpose. So focus on those purposes, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I have to jump in on this, and I hate to just jump in and reinforce. I'm going to just be clapping and saying yes all the time because we're on the same wavelength.
Yes,
but on this specific one, 2 things. I love how you said we're going to banish some of these words because I'll tell you honestly, I've come into class and just said, all right, hey, so your stuff looks good. You deliver on time. It's creative. Yep, that's the barrier of entry. You are in a creative business and you must deliver your stuff on time and you can't treat your customers poorly. Yeah, that's just what you have to do to be here. No gold medals for this. No ribbons to pin on your chest. You have to deliver stuff on time and it has to look nice. Sorry, that's the barrier of entry.
Yes.
I just kind of love that you're going beyond it. And the other thing, this is what I always tell people is kind of my audacious way of putting, what does this serve? I always say, how will the customer's life be improved by the thing you deliver? And they're like, life? Improve their life?
Oh,
I'm like,
that's
yeah,
so great.
it can be in a small way, but it's like, why does it matter that I use your stuff? What will get better about life after you've delivered this thing?
Eric, that's brilliant. It's genius. I've been searching for that.
Big.
So thank you. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get people to move past the embroidery, the screen printing, the decorating technique, and say, what's the link to the emotion you want them to feel? Talk about that and say, I created that emotion through embroidery, through DTG printing. That's the talk about moment. That's the I solve problems like this. I created this to have a fan experience. Do you know what the word fan means, Terry? It's short for fanatical. Now, I didn't go to OU, but I know that. And so I'm not a Bobcat either, Terry. So
Chiefs? No?
Only because I'm friendly with you on certain Sundays. Yeah. No, but you get it. It's that fan moment. It's that experiential moment. It's that fulfillment, that what makes my heart hum and my soul sing. And sometimes we forget to analyze that. So that's that 3rd column. I solve these problems. It could be fulfillment. It could be marketing. It could be I can print one of something and you can't. It could be personalization. Maybe instead of one of something, it could be I can print 5,000 of these in an hour and you can't. So you do want to define some of the things that makes your business stand out and make it special. Then you have the 4th column. So at the top of that 4th column would be who you serve, your communities, your targets. I like the word community better than target, but whatever you use, that's fine. So it might be retail gift stores. It could be insurance companies, schools and universities, soccer moms, companies over 25 employees in the insurance industry or in the automotive aftermarket, right? Little League Baseball. I don't know who, but you should have 4 or 5 of them. So look at your books, go back to business and look at that and say, who is currently paying me the most? Who are my top 5, top 10, top 20%? Where's my revenue coming from? And if it's completely no relationship, that might be a good thing right now. If all of your eggs are in one basket, that's kind of scary. but who do you serve? So that's it. Those are the 4 columns. So personal side, personal traits, business values, second column, third column, what are the problems I solve? Define them out. And then fourth column, who's my community? Who do I serve? Does that make sense? Did I?
Oh, absolutely.
Jared, did you write those down?
I have to tell you, I got a little misty when you said the yellow junior legal pads. So.
So, I'm going to identify the thing that Jay is not saying out loud, but he's doing very well as he speaks. Have you noticed how many times Jay has said, I know you guys that I'm talking to, and I'm going to bring you in? And this is the undercurrent that you guys may not, he didn't say that as part of that pitch, but trust me, knowing who you're talking to and bringing them into the conversation makes them part of it with you. And now you're partners.
Yeah,
it's huge.
100%. Thank you.
It's huge. So nobody does it better, by the way. I'm just going to say nobody.
Thank you very much, my friend. That means a lot. That means a lot. And
but we have some other folks who wanted to tilt in on this stuff, who talked about the other points that you had. Number one, Christine, talking about the attention versus intention. She said, such a good point. You have to find a balance with your face of a brand. I've been doing this sort of work for almost 20 years, and there's still times where that balance is difficult.
Yeah.
Fully agree. And then, of course, Jan, being funny, says, what? They judge me?
Jan, all of us do. All of us.
Yeah, everyone.
Jan, I'm not judging Jan Callahan. No, sir. No way. No how.
Then we have Ramona jumping in, saying about how we are all researchers these days. She says, I encourage people to check out a prospective provider. It's important for the working chemistry between provider and customer. And I think that's another thing people don't always take in. Chemistry. So it's about that relationship building again. And Jan, of course, giving you kudos as she should. This is gold, people. Listen up. Tried and true. This is stuff you link in to your whole business. Need a poster size sticky note to hang next to my desk. Yeah, where's those posters coming up, Jay? Poster time, my man.
Holy cow, I want poster size sticky notes.
You just want more stationery.
I have all the other sizes.
Hey, we need all the help we can get, right there.
Absolutely. All right. So
awesome feedback. I love those comments. Thank you.
We've got those
4 columns. Ramona and Christine and Jan, you guys are awesome. Thank you. You totally get it. And that's where the fun starts, is thinking through those things. So then once you have those columns and you have maybe 3 or 4 or 4 or 5 keywords in each column, that's all I would do. I would have some keywords in each column. So for me, it would be obvious. I would have graphics. I would have headwear. I might have digital, inkjet digital technology, something like that. I might have tacos, family, right? I'd have some things that are personal to me, important to me. What are those 4 or 5 things? The other column, I might have training. I might have experiences. I might have, whatever it is. Third column, I'm going to, again, you're going to list them out, 3 or 4 things. Fourth column, who do I serve best? 3 or 4 of those folks. Now you've got something that you can actually look at. So you should never, from that day, from that point, you would never be stumped. What do I say? What do I share? Because now the fun starts. You get to play what I call the relevant content game. And you get to look at each one of these keywords and figure out how they link and the story you're going to tell from each one. So you have tacos, training, lead generation, and branded merch companies. I can talk about, get it, tacos. I can figure a link to training, like all of the different ingredients in a taco are like the ingredients in training. And today we're going to focus on lead generation, and there's more than one path, just like there's more than one kind of tortilla. And I'm going to focus in on branded merch companies who need help with lead gen. And so I can tell that story in a memorable way that's very intentional, that continues to pull on my personal branding, highlight my business, what I stand for, make it fun, and keep it relevant. That's awesome. How you share a post. And I did that. You can go back about a month ago and see the perfect example. I'm literally telling you, tacos, training, lead gen, branded merch. Those were the 4 pillars. I shared the post. I have a picture of Taco Tijuana's, and you'll see it up there, and go check it out, because that's the example. I'm walking the walk here, guys. I only have to do this once a week. I can be random, and I can be attention seeking too when I want to be, but at least once or twice a week, I want to be very intentional. And because I'm leaving clues, so my future clients can find out if the chemistry's good. To Ramona's point, I think she said it was about chemistry. Am I building credibility? Do people trust me? Not everybody wants the mustache and the tacos and the crazy headwear. I get it. That's okay. I don't want them either. They're off the list. They're off the boat. Get out. You're not part of my fun tribe. I don't need you. And I know that seems like, well, that's arrogant. No, it's not. It's called working from a place of abundance. There are thousands of people who do get me, who want more of it, and will pay for it. And so if I leave them breadcrumbs and I leave them the clues, and I can back it up with some proof from the business side, sky's the limit, literally.
I think the funny thing about that is we all understand that there's a tribe there, but I think some of us forget that you have to lead the people to you. I mean, back in the day, we used to call it like the field of dreams attitude towards websites where they're like, if you build it, they will come. No, no, they don't just show up. You have to let them find you. And if they're going to find you, well, how are they going to find you if you're not out there, hanging out your shingle and saying, this is who I am and what I do. I mean, that's what these examples are for. Your tribe can't find you unless you are constantly exuding what it is that would make them want to be there, or the energy you want them to have when they show up. It's just kind of a fact of this life. I think that's the funny thing. We talk about social media and we forget that social is the first word in that.
Wait, there are spectral baseball players there? Maybe I will come.
Yes, ghostly baseball players. That's what I'm about. My business is about ghostly baseball players in a cornfield. That's what I do. Though I say that's funny, except for like Tom Rowan is out there going to the field, going to
right.
Field of
There you
Dreams
go. I forgot about that. Yeah,
and he does, and he literally goes to that Field of Dreams event every year and posts it. Is that about t-shirts? No. Do you think t-shirt people go watch his stuff? Absolutely they do. I mean, that's the thing. You can put this all together, and I love that you've got this kind of chain where you're like, here are these things I can put together, and I can throw them in a box and say, all right, make the linkages between them. It's so much easier to start from that than from nothing. It's that blank page.
That's just it. It's the crutch we all need. So like if you had if you had them on Post-it notes, or if you had them on dice, imagine if these keywords, each dice, right? And then you pick them out and you roll them, and then there you go. Okay, create your post based off of that.
Well, with that, I would love to see more examples. I don't want to just put you on the spot, but could you give us an example that's like more specific for apparel decorators? It's a lot of what we have here, and we know that you're steeped in the industry. What's an example for them?
Okay, I knew you were going to ask me, so I came prepared. So, thank God. So yes, I can, and I will, and I'm happy to do it. And so I want to give a shout out again to the mentoring program at Promo Kitchen, because this is where part of this came to light recently. A couple of months ago, I started a new pairing, a new mentorship. I have a mentee, I'm a mentor, which is kind of scary when you think it's like giving the 16-year-old the keys to the car. But shout out to Promo Kitchen and the mentorship program. And so, yes, we had this very discussion. And I try, when I do mentoring, I try to say, so what do you think you need most? Like before we set goals, tell me the highs and share a couple of the lows. And it was obvious that there were some opportunities to increase this intentional approach on social media, because it can be very, very overwhelming when you're a 1 or 2 person show, solopreneur, mompreneur, whatever you want to call yourself. When you're doing it all, this is like a lot. And I get it. And so I hope that this tool can help serve you in the same way, that it can simplify it a little bit. And so it's not as overwhelming. And that's what I was trying to do. So we sat down, we did the 4 columns, and we talked about it. And this particular person, she lives in the South in a rural area, and they have not a farm, but they have a lot of animals. And so she kind of joked about it one day and said something about the funny farm, and they have a lot of pets. And then all of a sudden she goes, oh, I forgot to show you. And we're doing a Zoom, and she reaches down and she picks up this rabbit. And I'm like, what? And so she's showing me her house trained rabbit. It's like a pet. It lives in the house. I had no idea you could potty train a rabbit, but I guess that's something you can do. I was taken by that. I was like blown away by that. And she could tell by the reaction. To her, it was something every day. It was living in the house.
Yep.
To me, it was like, what the hell just happened? So that is what I'm talking about. I captured that moment and say, okay, so in her personal column, pets was one of them, right? Turns out through other discussions, we started talking about, okay, so what are some of your business values? What does your business stand for? And in the conversation, she said something about, oh, we're the OGs of sustainability. I said, OGs of sustainability? Oh yeah, we've been doing this. We've been talking eco-friendly for like 15 years. Like, it's not just like some important thing we all talk about now. We were doing this 15, 18 years ago. We were talking about this. And I was like, well, then you definitely are the OG of sustainability. So I wrote down sustainability, eco-friendly, and they're what their values are, what their business values are. Then we started talking about some of the things, the problems they solve, and they do something for their businesses that they serve. They go out and curate and find the trends. And this is something we could all do. Every apparel decorator could do this. Trends in size, trends in colors, trends in styles, trends in decoration, trends in combinations, trends in media, all of that. So right there, trends. They solve problems because everybody you talk to, what's hot, what's new, what's fresh. Yep. It's almost a default. It's pretty weak, but at least it could be a starting point, right? And if you could solve that with intention, then you could carry it on. And then the other one was, who are they currently serving? Who are some of their top customers that they want to continue? And maybe they want to build in a vertical. So we worked that out. Pets, sustainability, trends, and retail resorts. Retail shops, gift shops in resorts. So it turns out that it worked perfectly. So I'm going to read one of our drafts. This wasn't the final, but I want to read one of the drafts. I know it's a little weird. I'm reading it. You can't quite see it, but this is how it would go. If I were doing the LinkedIn post, I would have a picture of that rabbit, holding up that rabbit, and it would say something like this. Am I comparing rabbits to trends? Yep. Just like an adorable bunny rabbit bouncing around, hopping all over, so do apparel and branded merch trends. While it might seem new to you or trendy to offer sustainable choices for branded merch, our company has been in the eco-friendly zone for years. This trend isn't a hopping bunny. It's here to stay. We're basically the OGs of sustainable branding. Our resort buyers count on us to know which of the branded merch products are eco-friendly, sustainable, made in the USA, and currently trending, and as adorable as a bunny rabbit. Hop on over to this landing page, fill out this form, and who knows, we might have some carrots for you. I'll try to explain. Right?
So
That's
good.
it.
I love it.
So good.
So that's how you put bunny rabbit to sustainability to trends to resorts. And
That's
and the
awesome.
key here was calling out our resort buyers count on us to know which branded merch products are example. We solve problems like this for people like you. How memorable is that? Just me telling the story. Are you're going to be like, could you see the rabbit hopping around? Could you make the connection between trends and apparel trends and a rabbit? I mean, that's what we're doing. We're storytellers. And as important as our craft is when it comes to decoration, is also equally important when it comes to telling the story of what we do. So I think these 4 columns, this path that you can take of intentionality, will definitely help you share content that's memorable and that resonates with the right audience. You're not randomly sharing it. You're specifically calling out resort buyers or mortgage brokers or teachers, right? So,
we might have some carrots for you. 100% of people who see that are going to say, oh, there's something in this for me. I need to go here.
Yeah, and it was a call to action. Come hit this landing page, fill out this form, and we might have some carrots for you.
Yeah.
Well, and think about this. Though it's intentional, you're still getting that attention grab. I mean, you're still going for it because you've got something unique that is attention grabbing, that's sensational. You've got this picture of a house rabbit, which is weird for enough people that they will stop and think about it. But then you're tying it into all these kind of real world concerns that somebody might have, as well as providing social proof, where it's like, not we want buyers from this market. No, our resort buyers. In the back of your head, you're going, oh, they have buyers. They have resort buyers like me. I'm a resort buyer.
Exactly.
Maybe I need to look into this.
Ding, ding, ding. If you're on Facebook, if you're on LinkedIn, if you are in that role, as soon as you see that, it pulls you even closer because it's like, oh, they get me. They, that you're building that bridge of resonance and relatability, and it keeps it relevant. And so I put this all together and I created something, and I'm going to call it the RCA, the Relevant Content Generator, or the Relevant Content Accelerator. I'm not sure yet. I'm playing around with acronyms, but I'm definitely going to trademark it. I'm definitely going to sell it at some point. So I'm sharing it here first. Well, technically second, because I did talk about it in my own session last month, but it's something that's really near and dear to my heart. And I think that it would help a lot of people. So if you think it would be helpful for you, It's not like it's going to be thousands of dollars. I'm not playing that game. And I'm also not trying to sell something here today. I'd love the feedback. I'd love, how can I make it better? How can I,
Right.
if it needs to be a poster size sticky note for Terry, then let's make them poster size sticky notes.
That was one of my biggest takeaways, by the way.
Thanks.
Find
Thanks,
posters.
You really know how to
them
boost a
somewhere.
brother. Terry,
No, I have to tell you, Jay, every time you're on the show, I write a page of notes every single time you're on the show. So, which I did again today. But we're getting down to the end, Jay. You're all over the place. Where can our listeners find you?
LinkedIn. Just find me at LinkedIn. That's my home base. You can email me. You can find me at Equipment Zone. You can find me at goflexpoint.com. You can find me, but I just look me up on LinkedIn. And there's a paper trail. There's little that's where I'm at most of the time, socially and professionally. So, but yeah, I tried to end it early, guys, so that we'd be on time. So
it's good. In fact, we got a couple of comments. I just have to bring
well,
them in. Number one, everybody loves these. I just have to tell you, they love it. It is brilliant. Everybody's in it. Also, Ramona says she likes the accelerator because it implies moving forward, moving faster and better. Love that.
Thank you.
I agree. But also a couple things just want to agree with. We talked about, I'm sure that Aaron's ears are burning because we talked about having that abundance mentality. I don't think he goes through a day without saying abundance mentality about 5 or 6 times. But here's Christine Shreve says, I love that attitude. I wish more people had it. Not everyone who's your customer will get you, and that's okay. The trick isn't being for everyone. It's finding the people who are for you. But I have to say, as the big dork that I am, I liked her second comment. You're talking about putting all these things on dice. She's like, roll for intention. It's the D&D of social media. I was like,
wow.
Roll for intention. Like I'm already seeing the cards, the dice, and the poster as a limited edition set. I got to say, goflexpoint.com. You never know. But
well, we garment decorators are already pretty much nerds without adding to it. So
yeah, I'm not gonna. I know we're not supposed to be too confessional, but my name is Eric and I'm a nerd. Sorry, that's just that was gonna happen. But yeah, I love that. Roll for intention. And by the way, I didn't care about the sticky notes. I just want the poster because this is probably the best and most concise way of generating content that I have seen pretty much in the business, man. You have really hit on something that I think is incredible. So
wow,
I'm eagerly awaiting this. So when that does happen, you have something to sell. I definitely think there might be a show you could go on and promo that later.
Exactly right.
I'll have to think about that. Well, I'll wait. I'll wait till one of your guests bails on you, and then we can talk again.
I know I'm not supposed to say this and say I'm glad my guest bailed, but a little glad today.
That's probably me. I shouldn't be that rude. I should be grateful for it. So forgive me. I don't even know who the guest was, and don't ever tell me because
it's terrible.
I will forever feel horribly guilty.
No, what I'll say is this, Jay, you have done an incredible job filling in and given us what are absolutely just pearls of wisdom here. So thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thanks, Jay. We'll see you later on.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Man, I tell you, it's just gems,
I know, just like blew off the dome today for real. That killed me. That was so good. Jay's like, oh yeah, I can come on.
I literally was making a page of notes.
I know, for real. Like, for all of you who are coming on, don't follow Jay. Just don't follow Jay. It's not a good plan for you. I'm just gonna say, you don't want to be the social media guy right after him. That's not great.
All right.
Fantastic. All right. So,
as we're ending on time.
Yeah, we're ending on time. I think it's time to talk about what else is going on in our lives, my friends. So what is going on for you coming up in the big book of travel?
Well, I just got back from Chicago where I gave screen printing class. And by the way, got in the 30s there. So what's up, Chicago? My complete screen printing business course will be at Workhorse Products in Phoenix, June 3rd and 4th. I will be back at Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago, June 10th and 11th. All my upcoming events you can find at terrycombs.com. And Eric, how about you?
Well, today I have episode 149 coming up on 150, which I also can't believe. And today that is shading and embroidery digitizing. I'm going to call it working in which I'm going to discuss some of the ways in which I've used both kind of standard filling stitch types and manual stitches to shade, create gradients, line value, enhance textures, and add density of colors by working into existing stitches. And I'll talk about what I mean by that terminology. I am definitely one for coining a new term every time I talk about a technique, but I'll explain that and actually show some examples of that while I'm talking about shading in detail. So head over to ericcampbell.com and click the Take Up tab at the top for links and live at 2:30 Mountain Time to share your interests. But yeah, got that coming up. And then I'm just going to put in, once again, a bug in everybody's ear. I'm going out to Fort Worth this year for Impressions Expo and teaching. We are still firming up the schedule. I know I am definitely teaching, presenting the value proposition for embroidery. So that's coming up at impressionsexpo.com. If you're going out to Fort Worth, you will very likely see me for at least one session. We're making the Eric Campbell wing a little smaller this year, but that's really something that should be happening. I can't be the only embroidery educator that's out there. So come on out and check that out as well.
You know, Eric, I think that I will now be at Fort Worth as well. I'm going to be hosting a panel discussion and maybe doing one or two seminars. So it's just like you, trying to nail all that down. And I believe Jay Busselle will be there as well. So some new additions to the Fort Worth speaking list. And so real quick, Aaron has just launched a new program for OSG. If you are someone who is an admin of a Facebook group or have a community of small business owners, Aaron wants to partner with you, and he wants to bring a proven format for masterminding to your community. And he says, let me do the work for you. And you can check it out at mosmasterminds.com, as you see on your screen for our podcast listeners. It will be in our show notes.
He is a fantastic facilitator for this stuff and can help you do the work without having to set up the back end. So don't do the plumbing, be the talent, and let Aaron
think this is a brilliant idea on Aaron's
Fantastic. Love it. All right. So with that, we've come to the close of another show. I have to say, agreeing with the comments here for real, Jay never disappoints. So yeah, everybody's clapping, very happy, glad to see it. And I would say, thank you, Jay Busselle, for joining us today. Did a fantastic job.
Absolutely. And thanks to you, Eric, for being not only our show producer, but part-time show host. So thanks again.
Thank you much. Been pushing the buttons and as quietly as I can, so I don't pick them up all on mic. I would say being somebody who's a mechanical keyboard enthusiast does not pay off, because I got the clicky clack, so it's not great for being a producer, but hey, nice for typing. But next week we have somebody coming on who I can't wait to hear from, because this is a new business category I don't really talk about much. We have Lawyer Renee Champagne from Champagne Engraving joining the show, so that's interesting. And we'll talk more about what's coming up with that as we get things firmed up. But yeah, coming up next week, we got content on deck, and we should have Aaron back, so you won't have me in the chair. I'll be keeping my clicky clack keys back behind the camera again.
You'll be off stage shaking your head at my dad joke, but I think you're going to give me a thumbs up. So there it is. So
that hype train, man, it's coming in.
All right. Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Eric Campbell, sitting in for Aaron Montgomery.
And this was the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.